So, let's talk about failure. Because if you ever tried learning a language and then quietly gave up after a few weeks or months, guess what? You're not alone. Actually, most people do fail when they start a new language. I failed multiple times, and it took me a while to realize failure isn't because people are bad at languages. It's because they fall into certain traps. Today, I'm gonna share with you the biggest reasons people fail, told through my own stories and some very human mistakes. And of course, how to avoid them so you don't end up quitting like I once did. Number 1, the big promise trap. When I first started Spanish, I told myself, in 3 months, I'll be fluent. Even bought one of those Learn Spanish in 90 Days books. I wasn't fluent. I could barely ask where the bathroom was. And because of my expectations were so high, I felt like a total failure. That's the trap. People set this huge promise. Fluency in 30 days. Mastery in 3 months. And then when it doesn't happen, they quit. The fix? Set goals that are smaller and realistic. Instead of I'll be fluent in 3 months, try by the end of the month. By the end of this month, I'll be able to introduce myself and order food. That's success. Number 2, the perfect method hunt. Here is another one I fell into, chasing the perfect method. I used to jump from one app to another, from YouTube tutorials to grammar books, always thinking this next one will be the magic bullet. But in the end, I was just restarting over and over again, no consistency whatsoever. What I've learned is there is no perfect method. Pick a method, stick with it long enough to actually get results, and then it becomes the right one because you used it consistently. When I finally stuck to one textbook and weekly conversations in Spanish, instead of juggling 5 resources, that's when things started moving. Number 3, studying instead of using. A big reason people fail, they hide in studying. And I say hide because it feels safe. Reading grammar rules, making neat vocab lists, it's all comfortable. But using the language, that's scary. That's where you make mistakes, stumble, and sound like a toddler. I did this with French for months. I studied diligently, but when I went to Paris, I froze. All those flashcards didn't help me order a croissant after all. My lesson here was 1. If you're not using the language, which is speaking, listening, writing, you're not really learning. You're preparing forever, but that's how actually people burn out. Number 4, expecting a straight line. Most people expect progress to look like this. Start, study, improve, fluent. Nice and clean. In reality, it looks like study, fail, improve, forget, fail again, and then suddenly, one day, you realize you can hold a conversation. When I was learning Italian, I remember one week when I felt like I was actually getting worse. I couldn't remember words I knew last week. I thought, I'm failing. But really, that was just my brain rearranging stuff. A normal messy process. But really, that was just my brain rearranging stuff. That's what I call a normal messy process. The truth is, progress is not linear. If you're expected to be straight, you will quit the first time you feel stuck. If you expect it to be messy, you will push through. Number 5, the isolation problem. Another reason people fail is trying to do it completely alone. No community, no speaking partner, no one to encourage them. When I started Portuguese, I thought I could do it solo. I downloaded an app, practiced a bit, and then stopped. Zero accountability. It wasn't until I found a language exchange buddy, just 20 minutes a week, that I actually stuck with it. Having someone to talk to made me excited again. If you're learning a language and no one else knows about it, you're setting yourself up to fail. Find a friend, an exchange partner, even an online group. Accountability is huge. Number 6, the native or nothing mindset. This one kills a lot of learners. They compare themselves to native speakers and think, I will never sound like that, so what's the point? I've been there with French. I would hear someone speaking super fast and perfectly, and my brain would go, forget it, you'll never catch up. But here's the truth. You don't need to be native level to succeed. You just need to be able to connect, to have a conversation, to express yourself. The moment I stopped chasing perfection and started celebrating connection, everything changed. So yeah, most people fail at learning a language because they fall into these traps. They promise themselves fluency way too fast. They chase the perfect method. They study forever but never really use the language. They expect progress to be a straight line. They try to do it all alone. Or they think if they are not native level, it's pointless. And I know these traps because I've stepped in every single one of them. But here is the thing. Failure isn't final. Every failure I had in Spanish, Italian, Portuguese or French, it all taught me something. And each time I came back stronger. So if you failed at learning a language before, good. It means you started. And now it's about learning from it and trying again, differently. Because the only real way to fail at languages is to quit for good. So don't quit. And if you have fallen into one of these traps, tell me in the comments which one got you, and I would love to hear your story. And of course, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, but most importantly, keep learning.